Hey guys, welcome to today's video. It's an exciting one because I always get requested videos for my kids to be on here talking about books, and I may have invoked a little bit of bribery and offered donuts. So
What?
Remember? I told you. Oh, she was willing. Now I'm on the hook for donuts. So today I've got my daughter Reika. She's 12, will be 13 in like a month and a half. And she's going to share some of her favorite books, and then upcoming I will get my son to come on and talk about some of his favorite books. Now, you said you have picked like 13-ish books?
I think so,
okay.
yeah.
First, before we get onto her books, I want to say that this spring she wrote a novella. We got it published through Amazon, and it is available for purchase. It's called Lone Wolf. It is like a hard-hitting contemporary story about a boy named Hugo, and it's really good. Honestly, not even just like a mother's bias, which I definitely do have, but the book is actually really good. So I will leave a link in the description. If your kids like the kind of books that she is going to talk about, I think they'll like this one. Okay, so back in the day, it's been a while since you did a like what you've been reading or your favorite kinds of books. You used to gravitate a lot more towards fantasy than what this stack has now. How would you describe your reading taste these days?
Well, generally like contemporary, but like hard-hitting contemporary.
Yes.
Because
You like a little bit of a gut punch.
I like books that make me cry. Yeah, and like I'll occasionally read other books, but mostly
Yeah.
contemporary.
You have like a couple other genres on the stack, but they're mostly contemporary, heavy topics done really well. Okay, do you want to save, you have like a definite top 4.
Should I save those for last?
Save those ones for last, and then we'll just do all the other ones in whatever order.
Okay.
And then end on your favorites.
Okay.
So pick the top one off.
Alright, this is Romanov.
By Nadine Brandeis. And it is a historical fantasy book. So it's about the Romanov family in when they've been, what's the word I'm looking for? They were like imprisoned, but like on house arrest. But there is magic going on in the story as well.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I read it. What did you like about this book?
That's hard, because it was kind of like a love-hate kind of thing, because I wasn't exactly expecting the things that happened to actually happen.
Which is what you like in books.
Which is what I like, but also, it was a little bit of a love-hate relationship there, because...
I remember when I read this book, I went into it not knowing anything about the Romanov family, and it really made me like the Romanov family, because one of the things that happened in this book that happened in real life is they were so kind to their captors that they often needed to be replaced because the people that had imprisoned them were worried that people were getting soft to them and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that is a really cool testament to them as a family.
Yeah. I don't really know what to say about what I liked about it, honestly.
You just really liked it?
I just really liked it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, this is Absolutely Truly.
I'll be your book holder. Is this for the entire series or just the first book?
This is for the entire series, yeah.
There's 3
There's
books?
3, yes. Yeah, I really like these books.
Do you want to say anything, like what it's about?
Okay, so they're kind of like mysteries, but more I feel like on the contemporary side of mysteries. So I think the main thing I like about it is the main character.
So her name is Truly
Yes.
Lovejoy.
Truly Lovejoy, so that's quite the name. Yeah, I don't know, it's really good. So I guess the premise is that her family moves from Texas to Pumpkin Falls, New Hampshire, I think. And basically her dad, who was in the military, is now going to help run his parents' bookstore, which is, quite the contrast or whatever.
Yeah, a little bit.
And yeah, I feel like I like the actual contemporariness of it more than I like the mystery, but yeah.
Next up, oh, this one's not a surprise.
Yeah,
really.
do I have to say what it's about?
Harry Potter. I don't think you really need to describe it, but this is, other than Romanov, I think your only fantasy
Yeah,
that
kind of.
has like this one stayed on your list for a long time.
Yeah.
What do you like about Harry Potter? Is it like a nostalgia thing? Do you...
Kind of. Every time I read the first book, I get like, I don't know. I really like the first book.
Okay.
Every time I read it, I feel like there's... Yeah, I think it must be nostalgia because it just brings me back or whatever.
Yep. That makes sense. Okay, this one, I don't know what kind of category to put this in. A series of unfortunate events. And this is the entire series that you enjoy?
For sure. All 13 books.
We listened to a few of them together as a family, and then you went on to finish the series. And I don't even know how to describe this. It really is a series of unfortunate events. 3 kids, their parents disappear.
No, they die in a fire.
Oh, okay. It's been years.
Yeah, so... And then they end up going to live with a supposed, like, relative.
Yes, in every book it's a different relative, right?
Kind of.
Well,
but, yeah.
Supposed to be.
So in the first one, so his name is Count Olaf, and he's not, he's not a good guy. Yeah, it is a series of unfortunate events.
Tell me what you like about the book.
Well, I like, the narrator, who's not any one of the characters, is really funny. So the narrator is supposedly Lemony Snicket, who wrote the book, but it is a pen name. It's got really good humor for a series of unfortunate events, but yeah. There's lots of like literary kind of quotes or whatever.
Oh. I should reread the books that we have read and then finish the series. Okay, next up. Oh, this one.
I'll fall down.
I read this one a few months ago because you told me to. So this is about Grace Blakely. And she goes to live with her grandfather, who lives in this like fictitious country. Well, I mean, in the book it's real. But he's an ambassador for the US, right?
Yeah.
And she lives on Embassy Row, so like there's all these all the embassies kind of thing. I really like the back here. It says, Grace Blakely is absolutely certain of 3 things. She is not crazy. Her mother was murdered. Someday she's going to find the killer and make him pay. I feel like that summarizes the book.
I think for me it was the first sentence that got me. That was a really good first sentence.
Do you want to read it?
Okay. When I was 12, I broke my leg jumping off the wall between Canada and Germany.
Yeah, that's a good sentence. That hooks a person. What I wasn't expecting, because she forced this book on me, was for like how deep it actually is. I thought it was going to be completely different than what it was. Yeah, I agree. This is a good one. Okay. Anything else?
I don't really know what to say, like what it is for genre, because it's not fantasy, but not contemporary, but
it's kind of like espionage-ish.
Kinda.
Cat is slowly trying to get into the video, coming closer and closer. Okay. Next one. What was a good one?
Closer to Nowhere by Ellen Hopkins.
This one is a free verse story where we have 2 different characters.
They're cousins, Hannah and Calvin.
Calvin, yep. And so every one of Hannah's start with a definition, right? And then every chapter that is Calvin's starts with fact or fiction.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So Calvin goes to live with Hannah's family because his mother has died and his father's in jail. And so it's a rough time. What do you like about it?
Well, I think for one reason I like that Hannah is one of the main characters because she has had a much better upbringing than Calvin has. But she is like so not perfect that it's kind of nice to see. Like she's very relatable. And yeah, it's nice to see a character like that.
There's a lot of character growth in this book. Yeah. Very good. I like this one. Next one. I've never actually read.
Caleb and Kit. That's by Beth. I don't know how to say her last name. Like Rabel?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll link all the books below.
Okay, so our main character, what is it about, I guess?
I don't know. I've never read it.
So our main character has cystic fibrosis, and he often, it's kind of like a big part of his life. Like, his mom is very protective of him, and he calls his brother Perfect Patrick. But then I guess he goes into the woods by his house one day, and then there's this girl named Kit.
We got interrupted by a little kid, and then I always lose my train of thought. You don't really know how to describe this book, but it's one of your favorites, so it's worth reading. You tapped this one quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, next one. Should we do two together?
We should do this. Yeah, I guess
both
so.
of them? Okay. We got Wonder
And Augie and Me. Well, I feel like most people have heard of Wonder because it's, quite popular, but do I have to say what it's about?
It's about a boy with some kind of facial
Craniofacial something, I don't know.
deformity of sorts. It's been a long time since I read it. And he was homeschooled until grade 5 when he goes to school. And it's kind of his time at school, really, right? And then this one follows...
So it follows 3 characters. Augie and Me is, it's really cool. So it's kind of like a companion novel because Augie is not really in the book. But it follows 3 different characters. So Julian, who's my favorite character. What's his name? Christopher, I think, who is August's best friend from before the book in Wonder.
Right.
And Charlotte, who, is mentioned as well. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's Charlotte.
She's
in there.
She's just in the book, yeah.
Because I've never read this, and I know who Charlotte is. Anything else to say about these, or just...
Not particularly, no.
Okay. So, read these. And now we are on to the final 4, your favorite 4. Is there an order for these?
Yes, there is an order.
Okay.
Well, kind of. I know the first book, but I always get stuck on the rest of these. Okay, I'll just go like this.
So top 4.
All right.
The best books.
So first of all is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. So she was like a teenager when she wrote and published that book, so that's really cool.
Something that you can kind of relate to and like is encouraging.
Yeah.
This book I just barely read this year for the first time and then forced it upon you. This was one of your grade 8 books and you read it already this summer.
Yeah, it's like talk about hard hitting.
Yeah. So we follow Ponyboy and mostly him. He's a greaser living kind of in the hood and I don't know how much to say because I didn't know much going in.
And that's almost better for this book.
That's what I think. Like I had no idea what I was getting into.
You just gotta go with it, kind of. Yeah.
And it turned out to be a favorite for me too, so. Okay, definitely if you have not read this, you need to, and then get your like tween teens to read it for sure. Okay, next one.
Okay, this is Harbor Me.
And this was another one that was on your grade 8 list.
Yeah.
I did well. Haven't even started grade 8 yet, and you've already got 2 favorites.
Yeah, okay, so I read this last month, and I've already read it twice since then.
It is shorter.
It is, and I've been listening to it on audio. This is such a good book. What do you even say about good books?
So we follow some kids, I don't remember how many, 6, that for some reason have to take a class together? Or are in...
One of their teachers was just like... One of the main quotes from this book is her saying, "Put down your pencil and come with me." And so they all just go into this classroom together, and they're kids that ordinarily would not be friends. But...
It is really good.
It is
They
so
all
good.
have, like, things going on at home that they kind of slowly start to reveal, and yeah. Very good. Very hard-hitting as well. Now, these 2 I made her put in together. So we've got The Wednesday Wars.
Yes, by Gary D. Schmidt.
So good on audio. Just let me say this. Yeah.
I found the same thing with Harbor Me, too. Wednesday Wars.
So we are in 1967. Our main character is Hauling Hood. Vietnam War is going on. He has a teacher, Mrs. Baker, who is out to get him.
Yeah.
And... Oh, what do you say about this book?
I would just say, warning, don't read this book while you're underneath ceiling tiles.
Yes, that's a weird warning, but it does make sense if you've read the book. This is one of my favorite audiobooks, for sure. Yeah, okay. So there's The Wednesday Wars, and then your last one, your absolute favorite book.
Of all time. Okay for Now, also by Gary D. Schmidt.
So this is a companion novel, and I would say definitely read this book first, because the main character in here is in here, and it's necessary to read them in order. Yeah. And then, side note, there is a third book that just came out last year, and it's terrible. It's terrible. So, don't read it. Anyway, tell us about Okay for Now. I have not read this book in a long time now, so.
I must have read this book at least like 10 times, maybe more.
So our main character is Doug Switek.
Yeah.
We follow him through a summer. So this one is 1968. So. Yeah,
I think it's like kind of summer and fall kind of thing. I feel like it's a little bit like a cross between, I don't know, like The Outsiders, if it was like for a slightly younger audience. But also, Okay for Now is so funny. Why is it so hard to talk about the books that you like more?
I don't know. It's been so long since I've read this one too. Oh, I didn't know it has pictures. I've just done it on audio.
Me too, but it's really cool.
So he, his oldest brother returns from Vietnam. He's been wounded in the war. So that plays a lot into it, right? And then Doug, a lot of his summer is spent at the library. Looking at the Birds of America, John James Audubon's Birds of America. So that is such a weird combination. How does that make it such an amazing book?
Yeah.
I don't know. But it is really good.
It's so good.
Favorite book of all time. Anything else you want to say about your favorite books or books in general? We're always open to suggestions. If you have some hard-hitting books that you think she would like, especially if you can make her cry, leave all the suggestions in the comments. So thanks for being here. I'll give you a donut at some point here. We'll go buy some donuts. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back soonish at some point with my son's favorite books.